This is Neal Isaacs, and I'm pleased once again to go through the Market Pulse survey just dropped from the IBBA and the M&A Source. This is the definitive guide to transactions in the Main Street and lower middle markets. We track these very closely. We really kind of monitor this as the pulse of the market, if you will. So I'm going to go as quick as I can to give you, this is a state of the market address. When this thing comes out, you kind of know exactly what's going on with small business transactions. Extremely powerful data for buyers of businesses, for sellers of businesses, for advisors of businesses. Number one, it always defines the audience. Main Street, less than a $2 million deal, lower middle market, $2 million up to a $50 million deal. That's important because a Main Street business, Bob's Main Street Plumbing Supply is different than a $50 million, multiple hundreds of employee type of business. It's just a different animal altogether. So keep that in mind. Under $2 million enterprise value, Main Street, $2 million to $50 million lower middle market. The biggest headwind 2023 was interest rates, followed by inflation and election noise. What's missing to me is labor. Not a lot of chatter about labor challenges. That's something we've seen quarter after quarter for the last few quarters since the pandemic, but we're not really seeing that. In fact, people are saying what's going to make 2024 better are low interest rates, reduced inflation, pretty much the opposite of what's been challenging us in 2023. They always do a great slide on multiples. So what does the average owner get? Here's how I explain this. How many years will a business owner get if he or she sells his or her business? And the answer is almost always, for Main Street, 2 years. You make $100,000, you sell your business, you get $200,000. And that's extremely distilled down. Hire a business intermediary to give you a quality valuation. But those are the metrics that we've seen for a long time. And that climbs up with bigger businesses. So those lower middle market businesses we were talking about, 5, 6, there's more variability with bigger businesses. But small Main Street businesses are very consistent, 2.5 times cash flow, and they're getting around 90% of what the selling price is for small businesses, close to 100 or over 100 for the bigger businesses. That's a very consistent trend we've seen. One inconsistency, one new thing that the IBBA pointed out, which I thought was pretty interesting, is the variability within those numbers. If you drill down on the lower middle market, they have some interesting charts about how it's not a smooth curve. Some owners are getting a 4X and some owners are getting an 8X, and it's not a bell curve that we'd expect. It's very lumpy. This just, to me, the point here is, the big picture doesn't tell the whole story. You gotta do that diligence. You gotta really dig deeper, because you can't just say, oh, we're a 2X or oh, we're a 5X. This is a straight line. There are many factors that go into a value. So that's nicely illustrated with this chart about EBITDA multiples and variability. There's often a great market confidence chart, and that gets into how we're recovering from the pandemic. Long story short, market confidence really shifted down to record lows after the pandemic, and then they came right back up when the Biden bucks came in and when everything turned back on, and then they dipped down again at the end of 2022, and they haven't really recovered since then. They went down almost to pandemic levels. So there was a drop, a resurgence, a drop again, and that is kind of how this economy feels sometimes. But we're trending up. We're going back up. We're going the right direction. There's also an interesting chart about the number of offers per deal. Main Street deals are getting, looks like between 2 and 6 deals, and then lower middle market deals are getting a little bit less. So it's an interesting trend. You typically see more offers for smaller deals. Lastly, salient point here is how deals are getting paid for. Seller financing is definitely on the rise. Q4 of 2023, more seller financing than other years. And that's goes right in line with higher interest rates. It costs more to borrow money. People want the business owner to be the bank. So be prepared if you're a business owner to get seller financing offers, and know that that may be a more direct path to getting your deal done if the banks just aren't as aggressive on lending. It still takes forever to close a deal. Small businesses, 6 to 7 months. Bigger businesses, 8, 10 months, maybe a year. Bigger the deal, the more stakeholders, the more complicated, the more we see that. And finally, the most dire of slides is, are people planning for the exit? No, they're still not planning for an exit. Yes, the lower middle market business owners are planning. They have hundreds of employees. They're doing estate planning. They're planning for where their business is going to go when they're not around. But Main Street businesses are notoriously lax in planning for the sale of their business. In fact, the research indicates 74%, which is a perennial figure. It's a dismal perennial figure. Most business owners, a majority of business owners, do little or no exit planning when they go to sell their business. Don't let that be you. Do some planning. Think about your family or your employees and your options for exit. It's just smart. And it wraps up with what people are buying and what type of buyers there are. It's predominantly for Main Street, first-time buyers, people who buy a business is their first time buying a business. And then lower middle market, it's the strategic buyers or serial entrepreneurs that are buying the big businesses. That's how I read this report. I look for the things that stay very consistent, and I look for the outliers. At my office, we print this report. We give it to our advisor partners. We give this to people that are just getting into planning their exit. We give this to business buyers. We think this is really, really good information. You want a complimentary copy, reach out to me, Neal Isaacs, the Raleigh business broker. And if you want to have a deeper conversation about what this stuff could mean for your business, I invite a confidential conversation. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you would like to learn more about. As always, Neal Isaacs, the Raleigh business broker. We'll see you next time.